there was times where it was just her and I by ourselves, and I'm making jokes and she's laughing, and there was nothing about the situation that felt forced. She seemed, again, that they had done this before, that this was a routine. None of this felt new to her.
So Cassie might have thought she was done with Diddy, but this new bombshell, it's coming straight for her now. And if what we're hearing is true, this could cost her everything, not just money, her reputation, her credibility, maybe even her freedom. See, for the longest time, Cassie was seen as the survivor, the one who finally broke free and spoke up, but now there are whispers, and not just whispers, actual court talk, that Cassie may not have just been a bystander, she might have been in on it. Think about that for a second. The same woman who just settled that massive lawsuit against Diddy alleging years of abuse, control, and manipulation is now being dragged into legal conversations where she's being named in the same breath as Diddy when it comes to certain alleged crime. We're talking about lawsuits, sealed documents, and even former insiders pointing fingers. And the real kicker? Some of this goes way back to when Cassie was right by Diddy's side, traveling with him, partying with him, and helping cover up the mess.
Today, we can expect attorneys for Mr. Combs to try to poke holes into the account of Cassie, saying that she was a willing and active participant in these freak-offs.
All right, so let's rewind real quick. Just months ago, Cassie shook the entire industry when she filed that bombshell lawsuit against Diddy. It wasn't just another celebrity drama. It was a major moment. Her lawsuit painted Diddy as a controlling person who allegedly manipulated her for years. She claimed he used substances, forced encounters, and even transported her. That lawsuit hit hard. Within 24 hours, Diddy reached a private settlement with Cassie for around $30 million, 0 cents. That alone said a lot. No drawn-out court battle. No public denial from Diddy then. He just wanted it gone. In that moment, it flipped the switch. Cassie was suddenly everywhere. Social media backed her. Celebs praised her bravery. She was seen as the one who cracked the door wide open for all the other lawsuits that started pouring in against Diddy. That first case lit the match for what would later become a full-blown federal investigation. She wasn't just telling her story, she was being credited for starting the legal avalanche that followed. But now, that survivor narrative is being tested. But here's the crazy part. While Diddy's legal team celebrated a win in court, someone else was waiting in the wings, ready to call Cassie out in a way nobody saw coming. So who's the man behind this twist? His name is Clayton Howard. He used to be in Diddy's circle, but not just any kind of associate. Clayton was an escort, someone who claims to have worked directly with both Diddy and Cassie during their wildest years. And here's the wild twist, Cassie named Clayton in her sealed court filings. She gave his name, among others, to federal investigators as part of her cooperation. But instead of staying quiet, Clayton fired back with receipts. He says Cassie wasn't just a bystander or a victim. According to him, she was the one organizing everything. Booking escorts, setting up hotel rooms, handling payments, even arranging transportation. He claims she ran the show. Diddy may have been the boss publicly, but behind closed doors, Clayton says Cassie was calling the shots when it came to the recruitment side of things. Clayton also says she threatened him, told him to stay silent or else. That's a serious allegation. And the crazy part, this isn't just some social media rumor. Clayton gave an actual testimony as part of a legal deposition. But here's where things get sketchy. His testimony was never used in Diddy's court case. Prosecutors left him on purpose. His testimony didn't just paint Diddy in a bad light, it also risked tearing Cassie's whole story apart. If jurors had heard that Cassie was allegedly involved in organizing illegal activity herself, it could have ruined the credibility of every single claim she made. Instead, prosecutors kept quiet, sealed, off the record. But the moment Diddy caught a small legal win, that sealed info started leaking, and Clayton's accusations are now out there for everyone to see. And if you're wondering why we didn't hear all this before, it wasn't an accident.
How do you feel about people saying that you're a clout-chasing lawyer?
Just like I answered that woman's question earlier, I'm not speaking as pursuant to the judge's gag order. That's how I feel.
Now here is where the legal chessboard starts to really move. let's talk about Tyrone Blackburn, a name you've probably heard if you've been following the lawsuits against Diddy. He's an attorney who reps some of the biggest accusers in this whole case, including Lil Rod, the producer who came forward with intense claims against Diddy. But guess what? Tyrone also represented Clayton Howard, the guy we just talked about who's coming after Cassie. And that's where things get weird. Clayton says Tyrone intentionally stalled his case against Cassie because at that moment, Cassie was too valuable. See, Tyrone had several other lawsuits pending against Diddy, and all of them leaned heavily on one thing: Cassie's credibility. She was the star witness, the public face of the alleged abuse. If she went down, those other cases could fall apart. So according to Clayton, even though he was ready to speak out, begging to go public, his own lawyer kept shutting it down, told him to wait, delay, be quiet. Now think about that for a second. The same attorney representing multiple victims, but choosing which stories the public gets to hear? That's a serious conflict. If what Clayton is saying is true, then Tyrone wasn't just playing defense. He was managing a legal image, making sure Cassie stayed untouchable no matter what she may have done behind the scenes. And that silence? It didn't just hurt Clayton. It also meant that a major part of the story never made it into court, never reached the media, and never gave Diddy's team the ammo they could have used to question Cassie's role. Clayton finally had enough. So what did he do? Fired his lawyer and dropped a lawsuit that could change everything.
People, they don't need to lie about Cassie to get a conviction against this guy. He's guilty anyway. So I'm not going to help them lie for Cassie to make this lie look better. I'm going to tell the truth. I'm going to speak about what she actually did to me, and people, I'm about to go public, because the truth is that the jury and the prosecution and the people deserve to know the truth about Cassie. This should not be held. This should not be hidden. It should not be buried so she's allowed to use an excuse that Diddy made me do it. When there's a man who sat in a room with her 8 years that can say, no, he did things to her, but he didn't do that. People, I'm not for Diddy. I'm fucking not for Diddy. And when you read this book, you'll realize there's no way I'm for Diddy. People, I'm telling them everything that he did, but I'm also telling them what Cassie did. Because a true man of truth tells the truth. He doesn't favor one side or the other.
So now let's break down the lawsuit Clayton Howard has filed against Cassie. This isn't just a clapback. These are serious accusations, the kind that don't just affect your reputation, they can get you locked up. First, illegal transpose for commercial sensual acts. Clayton says Cassie didn't just recruit him, she made sure he performed specific acts for money. He claims she promised luxury in exchange, lavish gifts, expensive trips, designer clothes, but behind those promises was manipulation and coercion. Second, Clayton says Cassie drugged him, not just once, but multiple times. He claims she gave him triple doses of MDMA without his full consent, leaving him disoriented and vulnerable. And that's not just illegal, it's dangerous. Third, he says he was physically trapped. According to the lawsuit, Cassie held him in a hotel for days, took his phone, took his clothes, made sure he couldn't leave. He claims she controlled the environment so tightly that he had no option but to comply. And here's where things get really uncomfortable. Now, I know this sounds wild. Like, isn't this the same stuff Cassie said Diddy did to her? And that's what makes this all so twisted. If Clayton's claims are even partially true, it puts Cassie in the very same position she accused Diddy of. The same power dynamics, the same manipulation, the same tools of control. And this isn't coming from some outsider with no connection. This is someone she worked with, someone who says he saw it all up close and was a victim himself. And remember, it's not just shock value. There's a real legal danger here for Cassie, and we're about to break it.
Cassie, gotta talk to you.
Yeah, sure.
Cool. So, Love Loser came out, and I know that you talk a little bit about that journey for you.
Well, the journey was pretty long, but it was good, and I learned a lot. So, at this point, everything that you're gonna hear thus forward is the truth and just about my life. So it should be exciting.
I'm looking forward to hearing.
Thank you.
So here's where Cassie's situation goes from messy to legally dangerous. Clayton's lawsuit isn't just wild in what it claims, it's built on a real law with real consequences. We're talking about the Trafficking Victims Protection Reauthorization Act, or TVPRA. This law doesn't just target traffickers, it lets victims sue anyone who knowingly benefited from the trafficking, and that's the part that could trap Cassie. Even if she didn't directly traffic Clayton, Clayton, the lawsuit says she played a role by paying for escorts, using Diddy's connections, and benefiting from the whole situation. Not only socially and financially, but in terms of access, lifestyle, and protection. Here's the kicker. Cassie already got paid $30 million 0 cents from Diddy for what she went through. But now Clayton and potentially others are flipping the script, saying they suffered because of her. And that money might be back on the table, because if Clayton can convince a judge that Cassie played a part and that he was harmed, he could go after her settlement money. And once that door is opened, others may follow. Fast. If this lawsuit gains traction, it sets a precedent. If Clayton wins, dozens more could step up and say, yeah, she did the same thing to me. And y'all, if that $30 million 0 cents is up for grabs, you best believe the floodgates are about to open. Look, we've seen this before. One person sues Diddy and suddenly 20 plus others come forward. It started slow and then exploded. Now the same pattern might be forming around Cassie. This Clayton lawsuit could be the spark that turns other quiet victims into public plaintiffs, especially now with documents, timelines, and names all getting dragged into the open. And let's be real, public opinion flips fast. Right now, Cassie's still seen by many as the face of survival. But when new testimonies show her possibly being involved, even just a little, people start asking questions. The court's already said they saw Cassie as an equal participant, not just someone standing on the sidelines. That means she wasn't just there, she was active. That alone is enough to catch her in a much bigger legal storm. Once someone's painted as both a victim and a villain, things get real blurry real fast. All right, now it's your turn. Do you think Cassie knew what she was doing, or was she just trapped in Diddy's world like everyone else? Be honest, because this one's messy and we really want to hear your take. To drop your thoughts in the comments. And hey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell. This story is far from over, and trust me, more names are about to drop. We're keeping an eye on this for y'all.